Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, comment, sub, Big Baby JTV. You know what I mean? Like, comment, sub, and join the Patreon, man. I made a great video about Kyrie. Actually, it was an audio about Kyrie and why I defend his decision. Why all these weird losers been talking all that crazy ish about him when he stood up for the right things. He's the modern day Muhammad Ali, bro. More Muhammad Ali than Kaepernick. Anyways, man, let's get into the real topic. Y'all join Patreon, by the way. Let's talk about the Mixie boys. Rory and Mal with a $10 million deal from Sirius XM. Man, clap for him, man. Clap for. I wish I had a soundboard. Clap for these dudes, right? I'm telling y'all right now, if we just going off that deal, they're richer than Joe Budden. Yeah, they're richer than Joe Budden. Yeah, Joe Budden's main income is Patreon, bro. Okay, and I love Patreon. Shouts out Patreon. But trust me, his fan following on Patreon is not as good and as high as some of the highest out there. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you why. Because he should have been started his Patreon a long time ago. And I'll tell you why it's not that big. It's because his whole enterprise relies on Patreon. Okay, it's reliant on Patreon. He does not have a lot of advertising deals. He is so reliant on Patreon that it is his only pure check. I'm telling y'all right now, Rory and Mal had a great deal, right? A great deal from SiriusXM. They are receiving an amazing deal, and on top of that, they have 100% ownership of their podcast. What does that mean? It means that Rory and Mal, if they wanted to, they could create a Patreon tonight. Literally tonight, and they would get an extra bag on top of the 10 million. Right? Joe Budden has isolated himself in a situation because of his narcissism and his ego, right? That he has put himself in a corner. He can't go back to Spotify. If y'all read the Vulture interview, right, where they interviewed Rory and Mal actually shopped their podcast to Spotify. Spotify was going to give him a big bag. Now, here's what's the problem, bro. The problem is this dude, Joe Budden, thought that Rory and Mal were dispensable. And I like Ice and Ish. I like Ish way more, and I think Ish is a star. He should probably have his own show. But Joe Budden's ego will not let him have that show. If you read the Vulture interview, right, it says that Joe Budden would literally stop the creative process from happening. He would stop and stifle all the ideas coming from Rory and Mal. And this kind of makes sense. It makes sense because Joe Budden, especially a few months before the breakup, you know what I'm saying, or the implosion of the whole podcast, Joe Budden was getting so much in his ego, so much in his own point of view, his own perspective, that he really neglected Rory and Mal. You know what I mean? To the point where it just became so disrespectful. It was not even a business relationship. You know what I mean? It was obviously not a friendship, but it stopped becoming even a business relationship. So what that mean? That means that Joe Budden and Rory and Mal was not friends for a long time, and they were barely business partners. Because if you're a business partner with somebody, you have some level of respect for them. You don't have to like them. I personally don't like a lot of people at my workplace, but guess what? I have to work with them, and I have to give them a level of respect, or things will not go my way. Things will go left really quick. And you know what? It showed itself through the audio, bro. It even shows itself through the audio with Ice and Ish. Joe Budden thinks he's better than these dudes. Joe Budden disrespects them and sends undercutting comments to these dudes. Right? At least Ish sometimes, you know what I'm saying, gives him some flame, some fire. You know what I'm saying? And fights back a little bit. Now that respect. You know what I mean? Parks is just sucking off on Joe. It's sad, pathetic too, because now Parks is looking like a freaking goofy who's getting paid almost nothing, pennies, compared to, you know what I'm saying, Rory and Mal. And it's very obvious through even the Vulture interviews that Mal really, really, really has an issue with Joe, to the point where he said that he hasn't seen Joe or talked to Joe since the last time he was in the studio, right? And he even said that it would be very, very bad news if he saw Joe. Man, if y'all know Star, you know what I'm saying, from the Star Report, you know what I'm saying? Star was even saying, yo, Joe and Mal need to run that 5. They need to run that fade. You need to come outside. Star was even saying he got a rack on Mal. Yo, Star, I'm gonna bet you with you, bro. I might put 2 racks on Mal. Mal will wipe the floor out of Joe Budden. But yo, back to the main topic, man. The reason the Joe Budden podcast failed, right? At least the first iteration, the best iteration, is because of Joe. When a dude keeps messing up his bag, his opportunity, his potential wife, Sin Santana, there's a pattern of behavior here, bruh. And I believe sooner or later, Joe Budden is going to burn his bridges with Ice and Ish. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I want Ish, personally, to get off that boat. To get off that boat before it implodes and it goes and hits the iceberg like the Titanic. Why is Charlemagne the God and Andrew Schultz still going on for almost 8 years of a podcast? I'll tell you why. It's because they actually respect each other. I don't even think they really like each other. I'm going to keep it a bean. I don't think so. I don't think they even call each other or hang out. I doubt it. You know what I mean? But they respect each other and they grind together. So much so that Charlemagne has put Andrew on so much. And Andrew has exploded and became way greater than anybody would have ever thought. Right? But it's because even though Andrew Schultz is quote unquote inferior or has less clout or less money, Charlotte does not treat him that way. Charlotte does not son him that way. Charlotte, on the other hand, he bigs up a lot of people around him. That's why Charlemagne is going to be a very rich man, super rich in the next 3 or 4 years. I'm not even joking. He might reach billionaire status in 10. I'm not capping. He's going to be a billionaire. And Joe Budden is the type of dude who does not exponentially add value to people. He takes value. He's a succubus. Pause. Dude is going to ruin and suck off all the good and all the greatness that he is been given. I believe that Joe Budden will go back to rapping again. Yes, his fan base is still going to stay solid. It's going to hold him up. But this dude cannot work well with others. And it's very obvious that Rory and Mal had something really good going on. And they had great ideas to the tune of $10 million from SiriusXM. And trust me, they're going to get a bigger bag after this deal finishes. Because they're talented. They're good at what they do. And they had a lot of potential. And Joe ruined that. So, long story short, Rory and Mal won the divorce. They have their property, intellectual property. They can do whatever they want. And they have their independence, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Y'all join my Patreon for that Kyrie audio. Appreciate you guys. Like, comment, sub, and I'm out, bro.